real estate is the least risky thing that I do.
You don't need savings, Grant Cardone blasts Dave Ramsey. Grant says real estate is much safer investment. So explain.
Like both of these guys, Dave Ramsey's philosophy is a little too austerity, you got to hold off, and a little too slow for me. And Grant Cardone is also a little too chest pounding for me. So I'm kind of more towards Cardone, not all the way to Ramsey. But he goes on MoneyWise and, essentially blasts Ramsey a bit. He said, and this, I loved this quote, so I want to actually read it. Cardone said, "Real estate is the least risky thing to me as long as I have time and I'm not over leveraged." That is so spot on and true. I mean, what a great quote. And he said, what happens is you'll get a partner or equity and they'll put a gun to your head and they'll say you have to sell right now. So true. So I want to unpack this for a second, then we'll go into their dialogue. When you're doing investment deals and you have partners involved with you or equity involved with you, you have to make sure that everyone is on the same page and you have the same time horizons. Because even in the Great Recession, when the market dropped here in the Seattle Metro, 40% in some areas, if you didn't sell and you just waited, it was worth money, and good money, again, just right on the other side. But if all of a sudden you've got partners and they stick the gun to your head and they said, no, you said we were selling in 2 years, that means everyone's got to take a loss. That's the problem. So when you're setting up your investments right now and your partnerships right now, be conservative. Run the most conservative numbers. Have extra cash and have realistic dialogues. I was having a partnership dialogue earlier today. And he goes, how long are we going to hold this? 24 months? I said, I need you to think of this as a 7 to 10 year hold if you want to be involved. And he goes, 7 to 10 years? Come on. He's like, that's forever. I said, well, let's work through this. Do you think the economy is going to be all the way back in the next 24 months? He goes, no, probably not. I said, well, would that be the best time to sell? Well, I guess when you say it that way. I said, do you think it's going to be all the way back in 36 months? Maybe. I said, cool, I'll give you a maybe. I said, but if it was 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years from now, do you think the economy could be roaring again and we could be great? He goes, yeah. I said, cool, let's plan for that. And then we'll put some metrics in here when we hit a certain cap rate or we've appreciated this much and we can provide everyone their high return they're looking for, then we'll exit. So part of it was also just a little bit of education and having a good dialogue with potential partners. But Grant just nails this. Who you get into a business partnership with, whether in real estate or just traditional business, it's like a marriage and they've got to be committed and have the same goals. We got to get into the psychology of Dave Ramsey a little bit here, though. Why is Dave so conservative?
Because he went through some horrific life experiences financially. And did he have to declare bankruptcy?
100%.
Oh, okay.
So Dave was a house flipper. It was in the late 80s. I think it was like 1988. He was over leveraged, flipping a bunch of houses. All the debt got called, had to file BK. You know what? Sad story. What that did to him was that shaped a part of his life where he became the uber conservative guy. Name every dollar. Pay off all your debt. All debt is bad. Put money into your 401k. Put money into your IRA. And he calls it like the baby steps plans to wealth, the simple plan to wealth. For the majority of people, that's a great plan because consumers here in the United States, they overspend, they blow all their money, and they don't have a plan. For our listeners, for the people who hang out with us, let's make more money. Okay, let's go make things happen. Let me explain. So this is where I subscribe to what Cardone is saying. You're never going to get free and rich by simply putting in $1 here into the stock market and having no debt. Debt is just like a hammer. It's an awesome tool that can build houses and skyscrapers. When used incorrectly, you'll smash your thumb and your thumbnail turns all purple because you did it wrong. But debt is good because debt can get you your goals. As long as I'm not over leveraged, and I've got the right time horizons, and I'm in business with the right people.
And you have the right assets.
I do not want to go buy an office building today. That's the wrong asset to me. Would I buy a multifamily? Absolutely. Are there some multifamily people who are probably going to need to get bailed out because they did their performance at a three cap and the market's now asking for a 4.5 or a 5. Yep, well, it might be a good buy. What's happening is these deals are starting to pop up, and this is what Grant was, chest pounding about, is there's going to be deals and there's going to be opportunities, and you should put your money into those deals and create cash flow. A little easier said than done, Grant. And so let's take a little Ramsey and let's take a little Grant and blend it together. I do believe you should have 6 months worth of reserves in the bank, in cash, at all times, and for every property, because that creates safety and also personally lowers my stress. 2, now that I've got that, I need to go purchase cash flowing assets. And yes, that could be some stocks that give me dividends. I'd prefer real estate, it pays us better. But I need to purchase cash flowing assets. I need to get to a point where my cash coming in exceeds my monthly burn or my expenses. Then I'm protected from anything. And that's kind of what Grant was trying to say here. Then the last thing he said was he's kind of back to this idea of cash is trash, because he believes the whole banking system is kind of unstable. I agree with him, and that the regional banks and even the big boys are in potential trouble. And just let's play out the trouble they're in. They have to pay higher rates on their savings accounts and money markets, so they have less money to loan out. They have to bring in additional reserves right now to protect themselves because the Federal Reserve is paying more attention. And so you saw all of the banks increase their reserve amount. So they have to pay higher rates, they've got less money to lend, and they're increasing their reserves. What's that doing to a bank? It's pinching it. Now, also, a lot of them may have bonds on their books, and they were bought at the wrong maturities. That's what took down Silicon Valley Bank, was just that maturity duration error. Here's what that means in English. They went and bought assets that were performing at 2 or 3%, and now they need bonds that perform at 5 or 4.5. So to do that, you have to discount the bond in order to sell it. So these banks are getting hugely pinched. So what Grant's saying is, hey, take it out of the bank and go put it in cash flowing real estate. And I agree with him as long as we also have the reserves. And I agree with Mr. Ramsey, get out of the debt. Get out of the bad debt. So he's too much to get out of all debt. Get out of the credit card debt. Get out of the auto debt. If your HELOC's too high, we might need to get that paid off. We made that other video about how to analyze paying the HELOC off or not paying the HELOC off. But the reality is you're going to see opportunity over the next 6 to 12 months as the economy is breaking and you have higher inflation. That's going to create opportunity. So if you're not ready today, start getting ready now. Start getting prepared, or find other people to partner with, because there are deals coming.
One question, because this is one of the reasons why Grant Cardone made the statement about real estate is a safer investment. Why is real estate a safer investment than most all other investments?
In his belief of why real estate's a safer investment is that if you have the right time horizon and you have cash flow, it doesn't matter. So during the Great Recession, some of our assets were worth 50% of what we paid for them. All we had to do was just hold on to them and sell them at a later date, and we never took a loss. And they cash flowed during the process, so we could sit there and just float on by through the recession. What he's talking about is how that creates such a margin of safety for that. Now, real estate is also one of God's assets, and there's only one earth, and there's only so much land on it. So by owning a physical, tangible asset, one of God's assets, I'm now controlling this little space. And because there's becoming more and more people, that's natural inflation is going to continue to happen over time. There is no guarantee that a stock will always go up in value. There's no guarantee a bond will always go up in value. There is a guarantee that real estate will always go up over the long run in value, because it is one of God's assets and there's only a finite amount of it.